All right, been picking up in chapter 32, verse 11, where we stopped last week. The people had sinned with the golden calf, and the Lord is, of course, not happy with that stiff-necked people. And then we read in verse 11, "And Moses besought the Lord his God, and said, Lord, why doth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand?" God is, what Moses is doing here, he's going to ask God to remember. And Moses, what a relationship. He talks very freely with the Lord. There's none of the pious dribble that you hear sometimes today. We have a lot of hypocrisy in some of the prayers, and it's no wonder that a lot of the meetings are dead, because people aren't really speaking their heart to the Lord. But if we would talk honestly with God, be frank with Him, the meetings would become much more meaningful in our church service, be more exciting. But here Moses, he's seen what's going on, and he's heard God, and he says, Lord, I think you made a mistake. I don't recall you bringing the people out of Egypt, and they're not my people, they're your people. He said, remember God told him, said, those people you brought out, said, I don't remember me bringing them out. You brought them out of Egypt, Lord. You did it with a mighty hand. I couldn't bring them out on my own. That's basically what he's saying. You made a mistake when you say, I did, Lord, you did. Can you imagine talking to the Lord that way? But he's being honest. He's being completely honest. Moses is revealing what is truly in his heart. See, Moses, if no one else realizes, he does. I didn't do this, Lord, you did. These are your people. You brought them out of Egypt. And Moses also has a heart for Israel. That's his family. It's a big family, but it's his family. And he does have a great love for God. Verse 12, he continues, "Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, For mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath, and repent of this evil against thy people." Again, Moses tells them, you brought them out. They are your people. Now, suppose, now that you brought them out, you don't take them into the land. What are the Egyptians going to say? We're going to say, well, you were able to get them out of Egypt, but you couldn't get them into the land you promised them. But they're your people, Lord. You promised to bring them into the land. Moses is really speaking his heart, and he's speaking truth. So he's not afraid for what he's saying. Next, Moses gives a third reason for turning aside his wrath against the Israelites. Do the Israelites need to be judged for what they've done? Absolutely. But that's God's prerogative. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thy own self, and sayest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven. And all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. You notice what Moses said. He doesn't say Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. He says Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. He said, your faithful people. Remember them. You made a promise to Abraham, you made a promise to Isaac, and you reaffirmed it with Israel. You made a promise to them, and you are a promise-keeping God. You promised to multiply their seed. Look at them, Lord. They're multiplying. And you gave them a promise. I truly believe here that God, more than anything else, is testing the heart of Moses. And Moses passes this test with flying colors. Moses, I'm going to judge these people. I'm tired of these people. But Moses speaks from the heart. In verse 14 it says, And the Lord repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. Moses is not fooled. He understands the sin of Israel. And he didn't, in any of his arguments, he did not try to justify their actions. There's no justification for sin. We try to make excuses, but there's no justification. That's the reason we need to quit making excuses and start repenting when we do sin. As a result of prayer, God repented. Better for us to understand is he relented of his threatened course of judgment. The word repented does not mean that God changed his mind and went the other direction. Didn't mean he made a mistake and straightened it. No. He just embarked on a new course of action. Do prayers work? Absolutely. God will go in a different course of action. The Hebrew word here is nahim, and it suggests relief or comfort from a planned, undesirable course of action. It's not the action God wanted to take, and so it was very easy when Moses defended the people and pointed out all the reasons why God should not destroy them. So it was an undesirable course for God. He didn't want to destroy Israel. So God is not inflexible. He responds to individuals' needs, their attitudes, their actions. So when Moses prayed sincerely, and that's the key, he prayed sincerely. And he prayed honestly. And that prayer moved the arm of God. Tell me that prayer is not strong? A prayer like that can move the arm of God. Abraham prayed hard. And God relented for what he was going to do. If he could have found 10 righteous people, he would have spared the city. They just weren't there. So Moses spoke from the heart, a heart of love, a heart of devotion, a heart of love not only for Israel, but more importantly, a heart of love for God. He cared and he loved Israel. He loved those people. And he cared about what the world thought about God. He realized that if God were to judge Israel and to destroy them, the world would look upon him as a terrible God. They would know all the things he had done for them, all the things he had promised, and the world would have said, you can't trust that God. But God keeps his word. So Moses prayed lovingly, he prayed honestly, and we see the result. And I think if we were more honest in our praying, we would see more affirmative answers on our behalf. The more visible answers to our prayers if we would pray more honestly. It's a fact that we always receive an answer to our prayers. Yes, no, wait, always. But I think God tells most of us no, simply because we don't really pray honestly to him. I think we all need to think about that one. We need to pray honestly. And Moses turned and went down from the mount, and the 2 tables of testimony were in his hand. The tables were written on both sides. On one side and on the other were they written. And the tables were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the tables. And when Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said unto Moses, there is a noise of war in the camp. And he said, it is not the voice of them that shout for mastery, neither is the voice of them that cry for being overcome, but the noise of them that sing do I hear. Israel's sinning down at the bottom of the mountain. God already knows all about it. And now Moses knows what's going on. The children of Israel were just having a high old time down there. They were worshiping the golden calf. They were living in sin, and they were enjoying it. Moses, they sing. They're having a good time. When people have a good time, don't they sing? Maybe you doing some work that you like, and you're singing a hymn or something. Well, they're having a good time. They're singing. Moses descends from the mountain. He's got the 2 tables of the law. He was joined by Joshua, who apparently went maybe a little ways up the mountain. I don't know. And he wasn't aware of what the Israelites were doing. He'd been waiting patiently for Moses. and he thought that Israel was under some type of military attack. Moses knew better because God had informed him what's going on. And he told him that people were singing and involved in drunkenness and immorality. You can't hide your sin from God. They were like the world today, sinning, and they were proud of it. And it came to pass, as soon as he came nigh to the camp, and he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. And he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. And he took the calf which they had made and burned it in the fire and ground it to powder and strawed it upon the water and made the children of Israel drink of it. And Moses said unto Aaron, What did this people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? Moses did 4 things in his anger when he got to the foot of the mountain. First, he smashed the tables of the law, symbolizing that the people had broken the covenant. They had broken the commands of the Lord before they even had them. If you remember, it wasn't long ago, they said, whatever you tell us, we'll do it. Oh, yes. And now they've already broken them. Secondly, he burned that idol. Of course, fire represents judgment. He has judgment on that idol. He reduced it to powder. He spread it on the water. Probably it's a mountain stream, according to Deuteronomy chapter 9, and made the people drink of it. This action demonstrated both the powerlessness of that calf idol and of God's wrath against their sin. Though the burning would have demolished the gold idol, it was smashed till it was crushed into pieces. That's really angry when you see that, isn't it? Drinking it symbolized that the people had to bear the consequence of their sin, just as everyone else does. Third, Moses summoned Aaron to give an account of what had taken place. Now, Aaron, why did you do that? Why? He puts the blame right on him. What did this people unto you that thou hast brought such a great sin upon them? Aaron, you know better. What did you do? Now listen to Aaron. He's going to do something like everybody else does. He's going to try to weasel out from what he did. If this wasn't so serious a matter, it would almost be humorous, his response here. And Aaron said, Let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. And they said unto me, Make us gods, which will go before us. For as this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. Okay, Aaron, give me some explanation. Explain to me. He blames first the people. Did you see that? You know these people? Oh, you know how they are? They're already set on mischief. And they came to me and they said, You make us gods. I don't know how the conversation, if it was more conversation than this, I'm sure Moses said, And you could have said what? No. You could have refused. Moses, in other words, Moses is getting the blame for what happened too. Did you see this? Make gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him. If you would have been here, Moses, and been in charge like you're supposed to be, this wouldn't have happened. Does this sound familiar? If you go back, doesn't this sound just like Adam in the garden? Well, my wife, the woman that you gave me, here it is. Try to pass the buck, but it doesn't work. And Aaron says, And I said unto them, Whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave me it. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. To me, this is humorous. They brought me all this gold. I just threw it in the fire, and the calf just appeared. That's what he's saying, isn't it? It's just, and there it was. I'm sure that Moses did not laugh at this, but it is kind of humorous. You know, it's an outright lie, though, that Aaron's telling here, because he suggests the idol just happened. we just threw the gold in, it just popped out, and here came that calf. Wow. I would have liked to have seen that, wouldn't you? It didn't happen that way. Actually, we know from verse 4 that Aaron fashioned it himself. Rather than confess his sin and repent, he simply tries to make excuses for what he did, trying to get him, weasel himself off the hook. God was so angry with Aaron that he was ready to kill him, according to Deuteronomy 9:20. And the Lord was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also at the same time. Watch it. That's anger. He really angered God there. I think Moses was probably just astonished. Aaron, I know you're my older brother, but you're trying to tell me you poured gold in the fire and this calf just walked right out of it. And I bet he just stood back and waited for a response. But remember, Aaron fashioned that calf. What Aaron did was just tell a flat-out lie. Why did he lie? He was afraid. It was fear of Moses and it was fear of God. And when Moses saw the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Here it is. Nudism, sex, dope, none of this is new. People call this New Age. It's not. Nothing new under the sun there. I think you can look at the Israelites and you see the whole thing right here. It's all out there. And Moses is not going to stop. He's going to see what he is planning to do to the end. He's not going to stop. And Moses is really angry. At the same time, notice though what an intercessor he's been for the people, for his people. He laid hold on the heart of God. He moves the hand of God. It's time for Moses to move in with some extreme surgery. There's some heart surgery that's needed in Israel. Maybe a cancer. Maybe that's like a cancer. You have a cancer, you want to get rid of it. For a lot of people, it means cutting away part of the body. They cut away that part of the body. You want to get rid of it. And sin is a terrible cancer. And God will use extreme surgery to get rid of it. And I'm going to stop there because I promised I would let you out early to get some things done.